I've spent the past 25 months building and scaling a high-ticket global consulting firm that has given me the chance to work with some of the biggest high-achieving experts and skill providers all around the world. I actually just wrapped up our final in-person board meeting of the year with my business partner, and I remained in the car because I wanted to address something very important. If you're someone who has skills, you're an expert, or maybe you just have a dream, right? And you're looking for the right direction to turn that dream into reality. It's something I can relate to because the first 10 to 12 months of those 25 months I just quoted were spent living in my parents' house at a desk with nothing but my laptop, 12 hours every single day, working late into the night from a very, very small town in Nigeria where I definitely didn't have a chance to be globally recognized, and all people knew was the conventional path that takes you to, a 9 to 5 and, a college degree and whatever minimum wage the government of Nigeria decides to pay you, which is around $45 a month. And I would have been doomed to that path if I wasn't fortunate enough to stumble on something a lot more better. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I see a lot of people making effort in this digital space, and let's call it the digital economy, to learn skills that will also give them that kind of opportunity or get them out of their current situation. And I think the number one problem that I see people facing right now is saturation. The fact that you think learning a skill or a digital skill will stand you out, and the second you learn that skill, you realize there's millions of other people just like you who have learned the exact same thing. And I can relate to that, right? For me, that was copywriting. I learned copywriting, which is, a skill of marketing, in early 2021. And as of that time, it was already saturated. As of that time, I already felt the heat. So I had to apply this principle I'm about to explain to you to stand myself out and get to the point that I'm at today. And today, it's AI, right? Everyone is building some AI app or some AI chatbot, and the same challenges happening to them, right? You hop from skill to skill, but the moment you hop into the new trend, the new skill, you realize that it's not just you. There's millions of other people who are doing the exact same thing. There's something else everyone is ignoring, right? That is the answer to all your problems. There's one absolutely profitable skill that is ageless and timeless, that if you master today, it will stand you out from every single skill provider in the marketplace. And that skill is learning how to be a growth architect. Now, what do I call being a growth architect? It means understanding end-to-end customer or client acquisition. Till the end of time, businesses will always need clients. Businesses will always need customers. If you're someone who can understand the infrastructure and every single thing that is required to fall in place for a business to take a complete stranger into a paying customer or client, you will never be out of money. You will never be out of success. You will always be in demand, and you will always be different from your competition. Because the number one problem everyone is facing right now is they're focusing on selling the skill, not the outcome. You spend too much time trying to explain your AI bot. You spend too much time trying to explain your website and your funnel and Facebook ads and all these things that you know how to do. But business owners don't care about that. Business owners care about profit. They care about customers. They care about clients. They care about, revenue. They care about income. They don't care how you get it. They don't care how you give it to them. Here, let me give you a good example of this. So around that 25-month ago mark, I had spent the previous 10 months trying to scale a marketing agency, and I struggled. It was very difficult. The only clients I was able to get came out of referrals from the one client that I got in my early freelancing days. And so the income was very inconsistent. I was, from an actual client acquisition standpoint, I was at $0 for 10 good months trying to convert and trying to close people to work with me. So I was selling this thing called Facebook ads, right? I knew how to do advertisements, get traffic to conversion funnels that I knew how to write as a copywriter. And I wasn't able to close anyone. I spent 41 calls getting rejected for one single reason: the fact that I wasn't talking about what they wanted. And I was so focused on this skill that I thought made me special, which was Facebook ads. But guess what? Everyone I was speaking to had heard the exact same pitch from hundreds of other people that same year. So it wasn't new to them. If anything, it triggered them that I was talking about this Facebook ad thing. It's the same way when you send a DM or outreach message to someone today talking about your AI chatbot or website building or whatever it is that you know how to do, they'll get triggered because they probably already had a bad experience with some agency or freelancer who, made them promises and wasn't able to deliver on it. So the second you mention that, they're not interested in working with you. And I didn't realize this until I had a call with a specific prospect who made it so clear that he gets messages every single day, at least 20 of them, from people like me who keep pitching him this Facebook ad thing. And then I realized that, okay, that's a big problem, because of course it makes sense that he doesn't want to work with me when, there's 20 other people sounding like me every single day. So like, what makes me special? Why would he choose me? And that was when I decided to do something crazy. So I decided to change my offer. I decided to change the way I communicate the offer and the way I talk about my ability and my skills. What was the big change? So I went from talking about the skill of Facebook ads to truly listening to what the business owner in front of me wanted. I had this call with my next prospect. She was a woman from the United States, and I was listening. Okay, what exactly are you trying to solve in the business? Okay, you just need more people, you need to find more customers. And then I could see the big picture of things, that okay, this actually goes beyond just advertisement. Like, the core problem here is profitability and the need for consistent clients. Luckily at the time, I had spent those 10 months not just trying to build a marketing agency, but also getting mentorship from my business mentor, who was running a $600,000 per month coaching company, right? Consulting company rather. And learning from him as a mentor, I understood client acquisition. I understood every single system and infrastructure that they laid in place to make sure sales happen predictably. And I went out boldly to say to this, business owner, the lady from the United States, I told her, okay, I see the big problem. This business needs to be more profitable and it needs to get consistent clients. And I want to help you do that. It's not about Facebook ads. It's not about just fancy copywriting. I want to help you build your end-to-end client acquisition system and make sure that you start getting clients profitably. If that doesn't happen, I'm going to give you all your money back. So I pitched her $12,000 to do this, and I told her I'm going to work with her over a period of 5 months to build this infrastructure out. And if it doesn't work out, if I don't bring her enough business worth that $12,000, I'm going to refund her money in full. That was my guarantee. And she said yes. That was the scariest thing I'd ever done in my life. And it surprised me that she said yes to it, because I pitched for $12,000, which was significantly higher than every other pitch I had been giving out before that call. I was pitching my Facebook ad services for $1,500 per month in retainers. So I almost 10x the price in one go. And she said yes to it. And I was like, oh my God, yes. Finally, I signed a client. But also in my head, I was like, now I have to fulfill on this promise. And I'm glad I put myself in that scary position, because I never would have known what I was capable of if I didn't. Because then I spent the next 2 to 3 months, sleepless nights, trying to implement every single thing I had learned from my mentor on client acquisition, on how, he scaled his consulting firm to the level that it was. And it worked. 3 months later, one of the systems that I built out for her led to 5 new clients, and she charged anywhere between $9,000 to $12,000 for each of those clients. So it was around $36K to $60,000 there, but I'm not exactly sure what the final revenue numbers were. And it happened in a single week. And I was like, whoa, okay, I just did that. So I fulfilled on my promise, I fulfilled on my guarantee, and I had proof of concept. 25 months later, that client that I gave that offer to, and we ended up scaling that offer to $100,000 in a single month. We got featured on New York Times Square, this year for, accomplishing that feat, being one of the fastest growing digital consulting firms. And I didn't get there by selling my service as a copywriter, or selling the skill of copywriting, or selling the skill of Facebook ads. It was much bigger than that. It's always a bigger picture. And that's the first lesson that I want to pass across in this video. You need to evolve, and you need to transform yourself from a skill provider to a growth architect. The difference between a skill provider is the skill provider doesn't get behind any big outcome, doesn't care about engineering growth, isn't behind the sales pipeline of a company. The sales pipeline of a company is the life and blood of that company. If you are responsible for the passage of blood in any organism, you are extremely important. Not to talk about an organization, not to talk about a company. If you're responsible for the flow of money, for the flow of revenue, you are almost indisposable, and you're extremely vital, and you have high negotiation power. Mark my words. So whatever it is you do, you may not be a copywriter, maybe you're a video editor, right? You need to not just think about, oh, I help you edit videos. You need to understand different businesses and look for the businesses where video is extremely important to their sales pipeline. For example, like e-commerce brands and software companies need video all the time to explain their products, right? To run the advertisements. Now, if you learn how to not just be a video editor, but be the kind of video editor who knows how to edit ads in a way that makes them high converting, oh my God, then you can go to big SaaS companies and e-commerce brands and actually get behind their revenue, actually get behind, their flow of sales. And guess how much they're going to pay you for that? Like me charging $12,000 to Hannah, the lady from the United States back then, who is now my business partner, was a very small fee in comparison to the acquisition infrastructure that I was building in the company. Because if she made on the, lowest side, $36,000 in a single week, it means I gave her an infrastructure that was capable of making nothing less than $30,000 a month for 12 months straight. Let's imagine we didn't end up becoming business partners. My 12K would have been justified because she would have gone on to make $30,000 every single month for 12 months straight, which is $360,000 in a year. And I only charged 12K for something that produced $360K. Not to talk about the fact that since then, we've grown this consulting firm to over $1 million in sales, and it all started from 12K. So you see how much leverage you would have to charge high ticket, to charge a high fee, not just, small projects based $1,000 pricing for some AI chatbot or some website builder or whatever it is that you're doing right now. You need to learn how to see the bigger picture of things. Does it mean there's more risk involved? Yes. But are you going to choose to stay stuck because you don't want to take any risk, and so you choose the pain of not having any clients or not moving forward or figuring this digital, nirvana thing once and for all, versus actually putting yourself on the rope, doing something scary for once, and getting rewarded for life as a result of that risk that you decided to take? Which one are you going to choose? So that's number one that I want you to think about. Two is you need to think long-term gain over short-term reward. So what do I mean by that? I mean, a lot of people are always thinking about how much money can I get paid today? How much can I eat in the moment? And that's the wrong way to think about things, because you see, when I saw the result that I got for my now business partner in a single week, I could have just severed the relationship, and I could have decided, okay, I'm just going to go find another client at this point. But that would have been stupid of me to do, because then I would have just made someone all this money and let go of everything, and then go start from zero with someone else. Instead, I realized that, okay, there's more to be done here. And I can either choose to let go of my immediate, $12,000 offer, doing it myself, trying to go fish new clients, especially in an economy where trust is very little. Keep in mind, I have only this one client, on a high ticket basis. I don't have that much experience. I don't have that much credibility at the time. And she had about 8 years of experience at this time. And so I was like, oh, do I just go back to being my inexperienced small town Nigerian kid, hoping that someone else bites at this offer? Or do I want to get behind the experience and the infrastructure that I've already built for, my business partner at this point, and actually think about how I can provide more value long term to scale the company more and, get a piece of that, right? Get a percentage of that. Why? Because you are a growth architect. Why? Because you are responsible for the life and blood of the company. You're responsible for the sales pipeline. And so that's a very important position to be in. That's a very important position to be in that most business owners will not want to let go of. So short-term reward, sacrifice that for long-term gain. And I have a very interesting example of that. So when it comes to one of the best skills in today's world that allows you to be in this kind of situation, that would be appointment setting. What is appointment setting? Appointment setting is basically the ability for you to get leads for businesses. Leads are people who may be interested in purchasing the service of a service provider or company. You get these leads and you nurture them, which means engage and speak to them in a way that makes them want to buy or want to get into a sales conversation with the business owner. And when that person converts into a sale, what happens is you get paid a percentage of that. So usually, like what we see for most setters is they get paid, 5% to 7% in commissions and, some small base fees. Why? Why do they get paid this amount of money? And why are they treated like partners in companies? Because they are responsible for the life and blood of the business. Again, if you are responsible for the flow of sales, for the literal blood of a business, it is very hard for it to be disposable and it's very hard for it to be paid little amounts of money. And so I've seen this happen with a friend of mine. His name is David. He used to run a real estate marketing agency, and he had this, at the time he was wearing all the hats, and he had this appointment setter approach him. They knew each other through a similar mentor relationship, and the setter comes in to set for him for a month and takes complete charge of the setter department, right, which is the sales pipeline of the company. And they scale to $60,000 a month and even to $100,000 a month in the exact same year. And what happened is that put the setter in a position where he could negotiate long-term equity, right, to provide more value for the company, because all the calls he was booking, all the prospects he was getting, led to the company growing, and he saw more ways to provide more value to the company and become a literal growth architect. This is a hidden path that many people are not seeing. This is a hidden path that so many people are so blinded by their service, by their skill, that they're not noticing. They're basically missing the cue. And the ones who are smart enough to identify it are jumping leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else. Because this setter I'm talking about, like just last year, was in a place where he was completely depressed, had no job, was almost homeless, still had to move back in with his parents. And now he's literally traveling the world, all in the space of 12 months. Traveling the world, going to Dubai, going to Jordan, all these places. So it's one of the best positions to come in and have that path to a growth architect. So something that we're currently actually doing at my consulting firm is we work with a lot of CEOs, a lot of experts, a lot of high achieving service providers around the world who are scaling their companies very, very fast, and they also need setters. And selfishly, I'm actually making this video because I'm looking for very hardworking, smart and intelligent people who want to be positioned well enough to reap the rewards of long-term gain as a growth architect. And I want to be able to recommend these people to some of our CEOs and service providers, to help them book calls, to help them, take the responsibility of managing the blood flow and the sales pipeline of their company. So I actually have a longer video where I explain this in depth. I broke this down at a TEDx workshop training that I did in Nigeria earlier in the year. Hopefully at the time I'm dropping this video, that video is already out, and I'm going to have a link in the description for you to go and watch that video. And I'm also going to have a link in the description for you to join a community that I'm starting. I want to build a community of growth architects. I want to build a community of, people who want to go on this path. Whether you have a skill already or you don't have a skill. So if you have a skill already and you want to reposition that skill to one of a growth architect so that you are indisposable and you can, reap a lot of long-term rewards working for companies, or you're someone who has no skill at the moment and you want to be positioned well enough with the right skill that gets you on the path to being a growth architect, I'm going to have a link in the description for you to join. Let me close this off by saying one of my favorite statements. Business is always a game of balancing easy and hard. You have to choose what gets to be hard, and if that thing is hard, something else gets to be easy. If you choose something to be easy, the other thing is hard. So if you choose to make your pitch and what you get behind an easy thing, such as your service or the skill that you provide, then guess what? Getting clients will be very hard for you. But if you choose to get yourself behind something very scary and hard, then it becomes very easy for you to get clients. So I hope this has been helpful to someone. Feel free to subscribe. Click the link in the description if you want to join the community. If not, no worries at all. Cheers to growth. Bye for now.